you learn every year, and I think people ask me a lot, you know, when every year, what have you learned the most? One of the top three things is when you make hires. I think maybe early on, you know, you make decisions based on a recruit or two, or maybe, you know, the public sentiment, where you gotta do what's best for your team, you know, and I think, you know, continuity is important, but we also gotta do what's best. But, you know, there also is another part of it too, you know, and the guys have to feel like you're doing everything you possibly can to make sure, you know, you're bringing in the best guy to help them. And, you know, whether it is somebody that, you know, people around the program, because again, like, you know, you talk about fans, you talk about the boosters, you talk about people in the building, you talk about parents of recruits, you talk about the players, their parents, like, everybody has opinions on all those things. And nowadays, people can decide to come and go, through the transfer portal. So we have to take all those things into consideration when we're making a hire. But at the end of the day, we have to make the best hire for Ohio State, period. And I watched, you know, Coach Saban was really good at it, in my opinion. You know, all of those great runs that he made each year, you know, he would have guys picked off at his staff, and then he was very thorough about how he hired the next one. And I'm sure he would say, you know, some were better than others, but making sure that in that moment we're not rushing in to make a decision. And I think you saw that with Matt. You know, there was a lag time between when Jim left and when we hired Matt, where I think a lot of people were like, man, he's gonna hire one here pretty soon, you know? But it left us in a tough spot because the hiring cycle was already sort of done. And so it was so late. But, you know, the fact that Matt was available, man, it ended up being a home run. And so just being thorough and making sure we're doing what's right by the players. I think getting some of their feedback is important. You know, talking to Caleb, talking to Sonny, you know, what do you guys think about this? And then the last part, which is probably the most important part, is getting the feedback of the assistant coaches. Because, you know, Tim, James, Larry, Matt, they have to work with whoever this guy is who comes in. And that's probably the part that maybe isn't getting recognized enough. Because, yeah, Jim did a great job last year. Matt's doing a great job this year. What's the common denominator? Those coaches and the players. So I think we have the best defensive coaching staff in America, and I think sometimes, you know, they don't get recognized enough. Not that, you know, we're in to get recognized, but those guys put the work in behind the scenes, and they're doing a great job. So it's a long answer, but that's kind of some of the things that went into it.
Front row center, do